One of the most traumatic events a family can face is the death of a newborn, and a lot of times the people around them are so uncomfortable with the death that the grieving parents find they have to go back to their jobs and families as if it never happened. This next story is about a different approach. It's about a family who found that remembering can be healing, and it's about a photographer who has made it his life's work to help families remember. A word of caution: there are some images in this story that may be disturbing. Here's Chicago Tonight producer Jay Shefsky.
A,
A,
B,
C,
E.
E.
Grace Listopad is 4 years old. She likes to spell out words with Scrabble tiles, and she likes to look at this photo album.
It's a big one, huh?
But these aren't ordinary family pictures. These photos are a record of the brief life of her younger sister, Cecilia.
Daddy and me and you and Cecilia.
The idea of such an album may seem morbid, but Holly and Tom Listopad say that it's been a way to keep Cecilia present in their lives, and that has helped them move forward.
It's not something that just goes away. Cecilia may not be with us now, but every day she's with us. These, as any pictures do, help the memory and really have helped the healing, I feel.
I think it really helps out with our daughter Grace. She went with Holly to all the doctor's appointments and all that kind of stuff.
And at those appointments, they heard that everything was going fine. And then they had a smooth delivery at home.
And then right after Cecilia was born, she had a little difficulty breathing. And the doctor said, you know, like she had a couple short, like, and then she was having a hard time. So
soon it was clear to their doctor that this was much more serious.
And he said to Tom, please call an ambulance. We've got to go.
Cecilia had been born with kidney and lung problems so severe that the doctors said she wouldn't make it. As Holly and Tom reeled from this devastating news, someone at Children's Memorial Hospital asked them if they wanted a photographer in the room. They thought the idea was odd, but they were told they could ask him to leave at any time.
So we said yes. We went and called the rest of our family to join us, and then we were able to have her in our arms pretty much for the rest of the night.
The photographer is Todd Hochberg. About 10 years ago, Todd was a staff photographer at Advocate Healthcare. Then, a chaplain asked him to take a picture of a child who had died.
It was only a short 45 minutes, but it really changed my life.
Todd had recently been interested in what are called memorial photographs, pictures of adults and children near or after death. For many families at the time, they might have been the only way to keep a likeness of a loved one who had died. After Todd photographed that first family, he was so moved by the experience, and the family so grateful for the photos, that he began to offer his services to other families who had lost children, first at Advocate and then at other hospitals. And from the start, he did more than simple posed portraits.
Prior to meeting Todd, we did make available to families a disposable camera that they could use as their final moments of saying goodbye in order to create some mementos to take home.
Kristen James is the bereavement coordinator at Children's Memorial Hospital. She says that Todd's documentary style offers much more to families.
It really documents the care that they gave to their baby. Even in those brief moments, it really confirms that they loved their child. And that's a great gift to these families.
Though Holly and Tom had agreed to have Todd come and take pictures, they were still concerned that his presence would be disruptive. But Holly says she was barely aware that he was around.
Todd did show up. I'm not sure at what point he even showed up because it really was non-intrusive, which was lovely and what we needed. I just needed to focus on my family and to absorb as much of Cecilia as possible.
The main thing is I don't want to interfere with their experience. I don't want to interject me into their experience.
All of Todd's photos are black and white. There's no flash and no posing, and never a fee.
Yeah, I could not possibly ask parents to pay for the work.
Instead, it's supported solely through philanthropy.
I love the grandmas with her.
After the death of a child, many parents speak of feeling isolated,
Yeah,
and it's partly because their friends and family don't know how to offer support. Holly says the album has made that a lot easier.
You know, if they sit down and look at the book with us, what generally happens is you get a chance to tell your story again, which is ever so healing. And it lets them talk about it in a way that's not as stressful or odd as death sometimes is in our society.
In the last 10 years, Todd Hochberg has photographed more than 150 families. Sometimes art with a purpose can become less of a personal expression, but in this case, the opposite seems to be true.
It wasn't until I began doing this work that I considered myself an artist, because it involved my whole being. When I'm making these pictures, I feel this connection that everything else falls away.
Sometimes Todd stays in touch with families and will even take more pictures. He photographed the Listopad's memorial service for Cecilia and brought another album.
He's truly gifted. There's not many people who you would allow to do this. He's had a positive impact on our life in an area that could have been much harder than it has been.
For Chicago Tonight, this is Jay Shefsky.
In recent years, Todd Hochberg has expanded his work to include adults and older children facing life-threatening illnesses. You can find out more about Todd's work and see more of his photos at WTTW.com. Just click on Chicago Tonight. And by the way, Holly and Tom Listopad are expecting their third child in March.